John with Revive Home, and today we're going to show you how to paint a wall quickly using an 18-inch roller. If you're a DIYer, we're going to also show tips and tricks and all the steps it takes from the beginning to the end. Alright, so you remember when you're going to go ahead and paint, prep work is key. So we're going to go ahead and give you tips and tricks on how to get started.
The first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove all the mollies or bolts that are in the wall. You can do that 3 ways: using a hammer, using a drill bit. This will actually take the head off the molly, and then you can use a screwdriver to push it into the wall and it'll drop to the bottom. Or the third way is you actually use the screw and you screw it back into the molly and then use the hammer to pull it out. Personally, I like to either hammer it in or use the drill bit. Next, after you've checked your surfaces, you're going to fill it all with spackle.
Alright, here's a quick way to patch your walls. On one tool is all you need. It's got your putty, it's got your sander, and it's got your putty knife. Super easy to use.
There are many ways to fill holes in the walls like this. If you're doing it occasionally, this all-in-one tool is great.
Now that it's dry, it only took 30 minutes, so now we're going to use this all-in-one tool that has a little sanding pad here to smooth out the holes that we filled. You don't want to get dust all over your house, so what you can do is you can grab a paper towel, some tape, and this will catch all the dust so it doesn't get everywhere in your house.
Your next step,
You want to use a pole sander to hit it to create a nice smooth surface and a little bit of grip, so when you go to paint it, your paint adheres and it lasts for you.
so after all your holes are filled, you can go ahead and use your pole sander and do a nice light sanding on the whole wall. This will help with all those patches you did.
Alright, so we hit the wall with a light sand with the pole sander, and we filled in all the holes prior to that. Now it's time to hit the wall with a damp rag just to get any dust off of it, and then we'll go ahead and start cutting in. Just hits a damp rag to my pole sander right over it.
Attaching your damp rag to your pole sander makes it super easy to hit the wall real quick before you get started.
Things that you should have while you're painting. Alright, let's talk about paints. So what we're using on this one is the Bear Dynasty interior paint. I recommend Bear. They have solid products. This is a paint and primer in one.
For the walls, we use interior eggshell. And you always want to make sure you throw it on a running tarp and you get your paint and tape. The tape we use is painter's tape.
Alright, so there are a bunch of paintbrushes out there. I like the Purdy clear cut 2.5-inch angled firm paintbrush for interior painting, especially cutting in. As far as cut buckets go, I really like the Worcester Pelican. And the reason for that is twofold. It's really comfortable to hold. It's got a magnet right here for your paintbrush so it stays and doesn't fall in your bucket. And also it's really easy to peel out. Alright, so you see how easily this old paint is peeling out of this bucket right here? It's one of the best features.
I've tried many cut buckets and I love this one for this exact reason. Like, this paint peels out so easily.
Alright, it's coming out nice and easy. And look how easy that was to take this old paint, layers of it, out of this cut bucket. Super easy, no scraping or anything. It'll be a 5-in-1, a damp rag, right? Damp on this side, dry on this side. And of course, safety glasses. After that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to tape the trim with baseboards. The tape is going to lay flat like this. That way, if there are any drips, it hits the tape instead of the baseboard. Alright, so we're taping off the baseboards here up like this so that it catches any drips when we're doing the wall. Also, I highly recommend using knee pads. Save those knees.
When you're taking out the outlet covers, I highly recommend taping the screws to the plate so you don't lose them. There are two ways you can do it. You can either take the outlet cover off like this and put tape on it, or you can leave it on.
To open a paint can, for instance, you can use one of these paint can openers, or you can just use a 5-in-1.
A 5-in-1 is a painter's best friend, or a 15-wood these days. But you want to make sure you get a stir stick. You can get that from the store and mix up your paint beforehand so it doesn't get clumpy. And also, cool feature with Bears, they actually have these cool tops that are no drip, so that way you don't do any spilling while you're going ahead and pouring into your cut bucket. You can either hold your cut bucket like that, or you can actually get a link like this that you can connect to your bucket so that it stays in place. I highly recommend getting a chain so that you can hook it to your ladder so you don't have to hold it like I am in this video, for instance. The first thing you want to do is start cutting in, and you want to start working high and work your way low, top to bottom. Cutting in everything. If you have any patches, hitting those first before you would start rolling. Now, as you can see, there's tape there at the bottom that we're painting on. We're going to pull that tape off while it's still wet so that it creates a nice clean line. Now, there are two different ways. Like I said, you can either take your outlet covers off or you cannot. I highly recommend doing what's on the left, not on the right. On the right, it's quick and easy, but it's not as nice and doesn't look as clean versus taking the outlet cover off.
Quick hack so that your paintbrush can hang on your bucket without it sitting in the paint.
All you need is a small screw. Now, for cutting in, I recommend first brush about a 1/2 inch away, and then the second one you're going to cut a nice clean line. Then feather out with the rest of your paint and then dip again. The rookie mistake people make is they don't dip enough.
Alright, so for paint bowls you have a couple options. This one is 6 to 12 feet, right? So it extends. Which is really nice. Wooster 2 to 4 feet. And then Wooster 4 to 8 feet. This is the one that I use the most. It's easiest to use. It extends to a good height for most things that you're going to reach. Your roller pole, if you want to roll walls quickly, I highly recommend an 18-inch roller. This right here works awesome to paint quickly and efficiently. Cleanup takes a little bit longer, but it's totally worth it. Alright, so the nice thing about this 18-inch roller frame is it's actually adjustable, so instead of it just being for 18-inch rollers, you can use it for up to 12 to 18-inch rollers.
Once you've gone to cut in, now you can start rolling. You want to do a V or a W pattern. These walls were a little bit taller. They're about 10 feet. You can see how much faster it is to use an 18-inch roller versus like a 9 or 12-inch rollers. You can knock out a wall so much quicker. I highly recommend them.
If you're painting your walls and you have your 5-in-1 but you don't have a flathead screwdriver available, in your 5-in-1 you'll see there's actually a flathead that you can use. A little tool tip for 5-in-1. Unscrew the outlet covers. Right, Emmett?
Alright, our first coat is done, but we're going from a dark blue to a light green, so we're going ahead and put in our second coat. We cut in first, and now we're going ahead and roll in the wall.
It did roll out a little thick, so if you want something that's going to run out and roll a little bit smoother, Bear Marquee is the next step below, but does an awesome job as well. Again, paint and primer in one.
Now, the first coat usually takes twice as long as the second coat. The second coat you can fly and go even faster with that 18-inch roller, which just makes it so much easier and quicker to be able to get walls and rooms done. The other thing is the second coat actually takes less paint than the first coat does.
Bear Dynasty interior eggshell, which is what we use to paint that wall. It does say 1 coat hide guarantee. However, we're going from a dark blue to a light green, and so 2 coats was required there. The other thing you could do is you could use a primer and then go ahead and use a paint. Alright, so you finished painting your wall, right? And of course, you go and label this correctly and put it in the spot that you're going to remember it for years. But if you don't do that, like most of us, and you forget about it, Here's a quick 2 tips that you can use to make sure you match this color on the wall. So let's grab my utility knife and cut open the wall.
The first way you can match a color is you can actually just pull a paint chip off by cutting it out, bringing it to your local Home Depot or wherever, and they can match that color for you. The second way you can do it is actually by making sure that after you're done painting the wall, you write on the back of an outlet cover the color that you used, so that when you go to take it off to paint it again, you know exactly what color you used. Saves you so much time. Highly recommend writing on the back of your outlet covers whenever you paint a wall.
Alright, so we wrote the name of the paint on the back of the outlet cover, and we're going to put it back. And that way, if you go to paint this again, you can find it because you're going to take the outlet covers off to paint. Once you learn this, it drives you nuts whenever you see it done incorrectly.
When you're done and you're putting your outlet covers back on, make sure that the screws match up. It looks so much nicer and cleaner, more professional. And you want to turn them so that dust can actually fall through the flat head there. So see how it's turned so it's horizontal? And then I fixed it so that it's vertical. So you want that flat head space to be vertical and match. Just the little things that make it look so much nicer when you're painting yourself.
Here's a quick tip to get the roller sleeve off a roller handle. All you need is a 5-in-1.
Now here's the before of this room before we painted it. And here is the after. It's amazing how changing the color of a wall can make such a difference in a room. The lights also added a very nice touch. Once you're done painting, cleaning up your stuff is very important.
Alright, remember when you're done painting, you want to make sure that you clean out your stuff right away. Otherwise, you end up with something like this. Right? Where everything's stuck in there. You're not going to be able to get that out. You're going to end up having to throw away your paintbrush. Scrape out your bucket. Not a good idea. Clean out your stuff. We all make mistakes.
To avoid a mistake like that, make sure that you clean out your rollers and your brushes right away when you're done. And here's a good tip. You can use your 5-in-1 to get all that excess paint out of your roller before you clean it out.
Fastest way to clean a cheap brush. Step 1. Throw it out. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Please like and subscribe for more home tips. I'd really appreciate it, and I hope you have an awesome day.